This is the Death Row and Executions channel. Here is your host, Paco Rivera.
Welcome back to the Death Row and Executions channel. My name is Paco Rivera. You can also follow me on Facebook for updates and more Death Row news. There will be a link to my Facebook in the description below. Also, check out my other channel here on YouTube called The Maximum Sentence, where I cover recent crimes and convictions and a maximum penalty handed down. There will be a link for that as well. The state of South Carolina hasn't executed anyone since the year 2011, 13 years ago, when Nikki Haley was governor of that state. They did schedule an execution 2 years ago for death row inmate Richard Moore. I did a video on that case that appears here on this channel, but that execution was called off when his lawyers argued that the methods South Carolina planned to use, either firing squad or electric chair, was unconstitutional and barbaric. The South Carolina Supreme Court agreed to halt the execution until that matter is resolved. However, this past July, the court ruled that the methods of execution are not unconstitutional and removed the stay of execution for Richard Moore. He could receive another date to be executed at any time. A few weeks ago, South Carolina scheduled an execution for Freddie Eugene Owens, who is set to be executed this month on September 20. The end of this month of September and early October is expected to be a busy time for executions. There are 5 executions scheduled during a 6-day span, or 6 executions during a 12-day period in 5 different states. Freddie Owens on the 20th, 2 more on the 24th, 2 more on the 26th, and 1 more on October 1st. There is still a question, however, regarding the execution of Emmanuel Littlejohn, since the Oklahoma Pardon and Parole Board has recommended clemency for him by a vote of 3-2. And it will be up to the governor of that state to either commute Littlejohn's death sentence to life in prison or allow the execution to proceed as scheduled. Freddie Owens was sentenced to death for the 1997 murder of a store clerk, Irene Graves, at a Speedway gas station convenience store during a string of robberies that he was committing with other accomplices at the time in Greenville, South Carolina. That was in 1997. 2 years after his arrest, in the year 1999, while awaiting trial, he killed his jail cellmate by beating him to death. The cellmate was a 28-year-old man named Christopher Brian Lee, who was doing a short stint in jail for a minor traffic violation. Now, I rarely offer my own personal opinions in these videos, but it seems to me that South Carolina made a big mistake by allowing a brutal murderer to share a jail cell with someone who committed a minor traffic offense. During the years that Owens has been in prison, at least 7 times guards have found a shank, a homemade knife, in his jail cell, and at one time he tried to stab a prison guard. According to court documents, at about 4 o'clock in the morning on November 1st, 1997, Owens and an accomplice, a man named Stephen Andra Golden, sometimes reported as Andre Golden, robbed the Speedway convenience store that was located on Lawrence Road in Greenville, South Carolina. Owens shot and killed Irene Graves, a single mother of 3, in the head after she told the 2 men that she was not able to open the safe because she does not have access to it. The 2 men had entered the store, one wearing a ski mask and the other a pantyhose over his head. Yet another accomplice named Nakeo Vance waited outside in a car as the getaway driver. The Speedway convenience store did have cameras, and Owens was seen shooting Irene just minutes after entering the store. After approaching Irene, the men obtained $37.29 from the register and then led Irene to an office in the back of the store where the safe was located. But, like I said, she had no access to it. That's when she was shot. After the two men were apprehended, Owens tried to say that he was home sleeping during the robbery and shooting. But his accomplice, Andre Golden, would later confess and pleaded guilty to the crime. The getaway driver, Nikeo Vance, would also later testify that when Owens returned to the car, he had bragged by saying, "I shot that bee in the head." Freddie Owens' girlfriend at the time had also testified that when he arrived home, he told her that he shot a store employee in the head. Owens had also confessed to police when he was captured, but later retracted that statement, actually claiming that he had never confessed. As best I can tell, because Freddie Owens' accomplices in the crime had readily confessed and accepted plea agreements, their sentences were reduced. Owens, however, continued to insist that he was not involved, but was proved otherwise in court and ultimately received a death sentence. Irene Graves, like I said, was a single mother of 3. And she was working 3 jobs. She worked at a Kmart, at a Buy Low supermarket, and at the Speedway gas station where she was killed. At the time of her death, she was survived by her mother, 5 sisters, and 3 brothers. Please remember to hit the subscribe button for more death row and upcoming execution stories so that you're alerted when the next one comes out. You can also follow me on Facebook for updates. There will be a link to my Facebook in the description below. I am Paco Rivera. Take care and bye for now.